Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my tournament games. You've watched a lot of the AoE2 Noob Cup, but this is different. This is the Wandering Squires Cup. This is being hosted by T90 and Dave, who are, of course, legends of the Age of Empires 2 community. It's being sponsored by Microsoft itself. And this is a situation where they have the Wandering Warriors Cup, which is where all the big names, the professionals you know and love, are taking part. But then they also have the Wandering Squires Cup, which is where novices and intermediate players and people that maybe aren't the Viper or Hera get the chance to take part in a tournament. And I decided to join in. And so here on my YouTube channel, I will be documenting the legend, the adventures of the Iron Kaiser on his quest for Squireship Gold. I'm joined with Hiram of Tyre. Hiram, how you doing?
As always, I am doing well whenever I get to watch or cast AoE.
Exactly. I'm jazzed for this. I was so excited to be able to actually take part in a tournament of my own, to step out of the casting booth and put on my own big boy pants. To see whether or not
you know
I could,
what? You've got me a little jealous. I'm not gonna lie. I still have yet to play in a tournament myself.
Mm-hmm.
I've played online competitively, of course, but no tournamenting, and I'm feeling a little left out. So,
yeah. Well, let me
props to you.
Let me tell you something, and I guess this gives me extra respect for our AoE2 Noob Cup contestants, because there is a degree of tension and pressure that you feel when you're like booting up a tournament game and starting a tournament game that you simply don't get in a ranked match. There's just an extra level to playing this series that just really, it surprised me as I was playing. I'm like, oh wow, this feels real in a way that the games normally don't. So
kind of makes the ranked games feel like the norms, huh?
Kind of. I mean, it's almost like, when you go from a normal or even like a lobby game up to ranked for the first time, and how that feels special and different. It was a similar feeling here starting up my first ever tournament set. So what you'll notice with the Wandering Squires Cup, as the name might suggest, all of the maps that we're playing on are versions and variations of Nomad. So,
oh, nice.
Right. So for all of them, we're starting out, building our town center. You never know quite where the enemy is. You're having to play it by ear. The metas aren't quite as, in tune.
Right.
They're not as locked in place as, an Arabia tournament might be, for example. So, for me, and Hiram, you know this, for as long as we've played Age of Empires, I've always been a Teuton fanboy. Back a decade ago, I played nothing but Teutons. And so I knew for my very first tournament game, I wanted to bring the Teutons into my first set, and I decided it'd be perfect for the first, the first game. Both for nostalgia reasons, but then also I thought that the cheaper farms and the extra armor on my cavalry and my infantry would be useful. And so that was sort of my mindset picking the Teutons. My opponent, FedeElManco, he is from Spain, and a real nice guy. That's one of the other things I've loved, by the way. Hiram, I know you love saying how you love this community. There's something a little extra about connecting with your opponent before the tournament and scheduling it, organizing it, and so far my experience has been nothing but great. I mean, he was a really great opponent, and just we wished each other the best and that kind of thing. It was really fun to play against him.
If you don't mind me asking, what's his elo and what's your elo in the?
I would say almost the entire bracket And we do see Fede here accidentally losing a Vil to the boar. Breaks my heart. I think he hasn't picked up Loom yet. But I would say almost everyone
with all those wood Vils nearby, they could have possibly saved it.
Right.
Oh well.
Right.
Things happen, especially when you're trying to control exploring on multiple different vectors, which he is.
Yeah.
He's got sheep going. He had a villager going. Yep, he still does on that southern corner. So
yeah,
it's easy to get distracted. Anyway, you were saying about the elo.
I'd say the entire bracket that I'm playing in, it's 32 different opponents, and they are all in that 10, 50, 1100 elo range.
All right.
So that's one thing that I'm loving too, is the entire bracket is very, very close together skill-wise. So
that's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's not one of those situations where, the top seed is 1200 and he's just going to wipe the floor with, a bunch of thousand.
Where you can join if you're below, but let's be honest, we don't know what's not going to happen.
Right.
Yeah. So here's a question. I lost it. Sorry, I'm watching a bunch of different things. Anyway, go ahead.
No, so it's great, and there are brackets at higher elos, and there are brackets at lower elos, but it seems pretty consistent that there's a good grouping of people at all, different levels that you can partake in. And
what's the prize for winning the tourney?
In the case of the Squires Cup, pride. That's it. And I remember the moderator had said that if there were a prize, it just opens the door to smurfing and cheats and that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
So just making it a matter of pride.
I understand that.
Yeah.
So FedeElManco, first to click up to feudal.
Yep.
27 Vil count.
And he's playing as the Persians.
Yep.
And I think the main reason to pick the Persians for a Nomad Cup is they start the game with, I think is it 50 wood and 50 gold?
Something
I want to say
like
it
that.
is. So it's either that or 50 food and 50 wood. They start with additional resources, which means that they have a smoother opening than most civilizations would, which is nice.
Yeah.
I'm actually shocked that neither one of us picked Spanish.
I am too. I was going to mention that because Spanish is just such a classic Nomad civ, but they don't have the best. They don't have a great feudal combat. I lose as the Spanish on Nomad games more than I win, even though my overall win rate with Spanish is, I think, positive. I'm not sure about that. Recently, I'll have to check. But for some reason, it might be meta on Nomad, but it doesn't work for me.
Now, one thing I want to highlight, because this is going to be maybe the first big battle, is for the water. And both FedeElManco and I have elected to build 2 docks. And that's because we realize how important it is to get a navy out right away and get your navy numbers up and running. So,
neither one of you, or at least he hasn't seen your docks, and you have. Yep, neither one of you see each other's docks at this point. So, you've got to be looking at some point.
Right.
Here's a question: the meta that I've seen in Nomad with water is you build your town center and you do your TC dock house opening.
Right.
But you put all villagers immediately onto wood.
Yeah.
And you don't move them over to food. I noticed you chose not to do that. Can you tell me why?
Yeah. So that's a good question. Part of it is maybe just my uncomfortability with Nomad meta. It's so ingrained that I want to start with Vils on food, and I want to make sure that I guess in my head I'm thinking if I immediately throw everything onto wood, that, and here we go, we see Fede attacking with fire ships while I have my own fire galleys in the docks.
Yep.
I am so concerned about idle TC time. That's like my main thing.
So if you can believe it, it's actually faster to get your TC self-sustaining going full wood than full food, because you can churn out those fishing ships and those become self-sustaining oftentimes long before your villagers can. Because let's be honest, you have to look to use or to find your resources. You're often scouting with sheep at the beginning, so they're away from the town center. Unless you were incredibly lucky, it's faster to put them onto wood, get that dock going,
right,
and not letting your dock go idle versus not letting your TC go idle.
Yeah, I mean, that you might be exactly right. One thing that maybe backs you up on that is I have a minute and a half of idle TC time to Fede's 30 seconds.
Right.
So I think that this definitely, and part of that I do know was getting housed. I let myself get housed one too many times in this game. But
since you bring up the idle time, I just want to point this out right now. Yes, your idle TC time is triple his, but his idle eco time is 7 times yours.
Yeah.
So idle TC only does you good if those villagers are working. If the villagers are idle, well.
Fede does something absolutely amazing. I will highlight this. He takes a fishing ship and sticks the fishing ship in between my fire galley and his, so that it absorbs the fire damage.
Brilliant.
I loved that. When I saw that, that was...
Steal that.
Just, yeah, exactly. I'm stealing that. I'm totally going to use that in the future.
Yeah.
It was brilliant.
It's a lot like Hera's choosing to use his... He'll put light cav on the border and have him patrol back and forth to draw fire.
Right.
While his ships will mop up. It's kind of the naval version of that. I like it. I like it quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The initial fight seems to be going pretty 1-for-1. It looks like you've taken the lead. You've also invested more resources than he has into the Navy.
Yep.
And your fishing eco is still up, and his is not. So
exactly.
That's going to pay big. There was a little bit of a skirmish up with some militia near his base. It looked like militia.
I had one thing I tend to do is I had a single militia out to just sort of scout the field.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think that fortunately I'm able to win the water battle. And now we're hitting Castle Age at about the same time. And I think I have an eco lead because I've got the docks up and his are down. So, I'll tell you, again, I am stressed. The pressure is on. At this point, because of what's going on with the Navy, I am feeling a little bit confident. The score is neck and neck, so I know I'm not being wildly outclassed.
Right.
But I feel a little good right now. I'm feeling all right.
I have to say, I think one of the things that's giving you an advantage here is you've pushed... You're sustaining a wood eco, and he is not. He's got 8 vills on wood, but that's enough to keep one dock going most of the time, and that's if you're not building, buildings. So he's got a lot of gold, he's got a lot of food, but his wood eco is suffering, and that's going to cost him the entire the naval battle. At least until that turns around, he's just not going to be able to beat it.
Now, this moment is a little scary. I'm moving forward to try to castle drop him, and then all of a sudden he gets a night out. And I'm like, wait a minute. Wait, this is a bad idea.
Never mind.
I don't think 3 men-at-arms beat a knight, but if they do, they're not going to beat 2 knights.
What you could have done is split your villagers 2 and 2, house walled one group in, and start working on that castle. The knight can either turn and chase, or he can engage the villas on the castle.
Now, this is something that I was counting on. This was part of my strategy. I've just hit the Castle Age. I've not invested anything into Blacksmith. Neither has he. But because I'm Teutons, I do have +1 armor right out of the gate.
Right.
So I know that pound for pound, my knights are better than his.
Yep.
It's not as great when he's got, 3 of them.
3, yeah.
Yeah, I really want to get that castle up, and it's costing me. I'm making mistakes.
Yep. Like I said, if you've got 7 villagers there, and he's got 1 knight, well, split them up. 2 to one side of the castle, 2 to the other side, and I guess 2 running back home. he's probably going to get confused. You can do that in just a couple seconds. It takes less CPU to process what you're doing than what he's doing, and probably almost certainly.
And here comes the monk. Ah, yes, the conversion.
I love the monk play.
Yes, the monk play. This moment may have saved the game because I was getting worried. You know, like I think he had initiative there, and fortunately,
I know I said it. Like, think about this for a second. What it would have taken to start putting out sufficient pikes. You need a couple pikes to deal with each knight, right? And so you've got to first tech into the pikes, and then you've got to build them. Versus putting out a couple monks is something you can do right away, and it immediately starts turning things around.
You know, you got to give me this much. I am stubborn.
Yes.
I want that castle to come up. Again, I want to give my opponent just credit and kudos. You know, not just for like joining me and participating in the tournament and that kind of thing, but again, I'm nearly 4 minutes of idle TC time to his 59 seconds. He's doing very well on the eco side of things.
And yet, again, look at that idle eco time, though. 46 minutes to your 24. So, yes, he's keeping his TC going, but he's not keeping his eco going. There is a huge difference.
Yeah.
So, I've been watching, he's had pockets, credit to your opponent, make no mistake. I don't dispute that a bit.
Yeah.
But, you know, it would be a mistake to just look at the idle TC time and ignore the idle eco time.
Right. And that's true. That's true.
So you opt for an immediate castle, whereas he opts for a second town center.
Right.
Now, I think this makes sense. He does have dominant military on the field. He doesn't have a counter to your monks yet, so he can't just move forward with his knights, and that's okay. But neither can you just move into his base and start doing stuff willy-nilly. If he brings that monk into the range of the town center will gut it, and his knights will be free. So I do get the second town center play. However, I agree with you. You've definitely got the momentum.
Yeah.
And see, this siege works. It turns everything around.
Yeah.
Right now, he can kind of defend his TC with his knights. You get a mangonel out, that's not true anymore.
Right. And that's you know me well, Hiram, and you know that my style is to put pressure on quickly. I love putting pressure on my opponent.
I like you buffering your monk's conversion.
Yes. I'm glad you noticed that.
Nicely done. Now back in your own base, he's got a few knights there, 4 of them, and they're kind of pushing you off of your gold. So you're having, it looks like, you're selling wood for gold, which is fine. You've got the wood to do it, and you're going to get a good return at this point in time anyway.
I'm really proud of this.
I am proud of that too. Well
That's a really clutch save there. And that means that the knights actually go down to the sustained TC fire, and I didn't lose as many as I could have. It's still, I'm still definitely not playing this perfectly. I know when I played these games, I was a little sick, and looking back, I'm like, oh man, there's so many things I could do better.
Yeah. One of those things, obviously, I am lit like Monday morning quarterback.
Right.
You know, it's Monday over here, so you know I know exactly what I'm doing. I will point out, if you had a monk next to your town center, you could pretty much push away all those knights, just because by the time they get in range of the TC, they will have lost one to a conversion, and a monk can garrison in a TC. So when facing Cav, my favorite defense...
Watch this. Watch the spearmen. Pop them out.
There we go. Corner them in.
This was a moment I was really proud of, too. It got a lot of damage in, and I was actually surprised the spearmen did as much damage as they did to the knights.
You know, I'm a little surprised, too. Then again, six spearmen attacking a knight, yeah, they'll do damage. One spearman takes him down about, I think, a quarter to a third of his health, depending. So that makes sense.
Right.
He's got to be really annoyed at your monk right now. I know I would be.
Yeah. I'm not actually even hoping to get villager conversions. I just want to be in his head.
And you're buffering.
Right.
Either you'll get a conversion, or you'll idle the eco, or he'll try to move in to take your monk, and you'll get a knight conversion instead. So
he has 3 town centers up, and he's up 30 vills.
So why did you only just go pikes? It seems a little late to me. Just headspace, or was there a reason?
Maybe headspace. Again, everything's running a little bit slower for me than normal, and
yeah,
part of it too was I needed time to confirm that. And by the way, I'm putting this castle here on purpose. I'm forcing a response.
I see that
to knock out the army.
Was that 1 conversion or 2?
2 conversions.
Nicely done. Nicely done. Mangonel comes out. That'll outrange the TC.
Yep.
Nice. Now, if I'm you right now, I'm going to feel pretty confident.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel pretty good at this point.
Your castle's probably going to go up first, although he's definitely got more Vil support. Mm-hmm. You've got the ability to push some of his Vils off with your military there, so I think right now if I were to bet, I'd bet yours goes up first. Maybe not. Here it goes. His comes up first, but yours is right behind. You're able to pop those Vils in. The castle will go up.
Yep.
And suddenly, yeah, that TC is functionally dead.
Right.
Castle attacking castle. And that TC. Oh, I like this. Is he going petard? Yes, he is. This is a good move. Castle right next to castle. Mm-hmm. Petards can garrison, and they can just pop out and blow the thing. I like that a lot. I wouldn't have thought of it myself.
Yeah.
But it's a good move.
Yeah.
I almost never use petards, which is a mistake on my part.
Yeah, likewise. That's one of those units I rarely use. I don't think I even noticed the petards during the game. It makes sense looking back on it as to why was my castle so damaged. Fortunately, I don't think he knows the magic number is 8. You want 8 petards to just take out a castle.
Yeah.
And I think he stops at 6.
Which is sad because he had the resources. He could have done 8. And that would have been a significant blow. Now, of course, you are going imp, and he is not. Nor is he really anywhere nearby. I think one of his weaknesses, he had so many on gold. He did not have a very balanced economy. Mm-hmm. So, which, again, I can't say this often enough. I don't mean this derogatorily, and I don't mean any negative. Wow. I mean, it might have been 8 if your castle was full health, but with the damage it had already taken, I don't know, 7 might have done it. Mm-hmm. Or close enough.
You'll notice Fede here is sending a whole host from the north into my base.
I see that. Now, I would assume his play here is also castle drop. Mm-hmm. Oh, mistake. His villagers attack the house. You respond too quickly. He moves into castle drop.
Right.
Okay. It's not the best. It's not going to push you off of your wood or your food, but it is a castle drop, so... So he is trying to sell and buy his way up to Imperial, which he does successfully. Good for him.
Now, I've just hit Imperial, and from me, as you know, whenever I hit Imperial, first thing I'm thinking is win the Treb War.
Yep.
And that's why I'm really not that worried about the castle. If he's not doing anything else with it, then, you know, I'll just get the Trebs out, give it a couple of minutes.
Yep, because really, I mean, he can't use his cav to take out the Trebs, even if the castle, you know, the monk is enough to push them off of that.
Right.
Not to mention the castle damage.
Yeah. What I found so fascinating about this set of games, the numbers really show quite the contrast. You know, Fede has double my Vil count. He's got 100 Vils to my 50. I'm only just now getting a second town center up. He's had 3 up for however long. Right. But I also have significantly outpaced his military production.
Yep.
And it's working for me.
Agreed. Right now. Not only that, you know, he had a higher economy, but the higher economy, if you're not able to leverage it, it just doesn't do you any good. He's floating at least 1 resource at any given time. So he was floating a lot of gold. Now he's floating a decent amount of wood and gold. Wood is not what he needs right now. He needs food and gold. So, I get it. I understand what's going on. He's going to lose one castle. Man, he got yours down to 230 health.
Yeah. I was really, really surprised when that castle went down and realized, hey, wait a minute. I'd already written this castle off. Yeah. And I was like, wait a minute. That's going to stay up. Cool.
Hey, cool. All right, so where did your trebs go? There they are.
Yep.
So they're setting up, and instead of pushing forward, you start pushing backward. I think I agree with this.
Yeah, I wanted to get this one off of my backyard before continuing with the offense.
Yeah, especially because if it stayed up, he could pump trebs out of it and then threaten you from two fronts because he's got trebs. You're in the pincher here. He could cut you off. So I think I agree with this. Yeah. As it stands,
and I have no idea that he's ahead this much, villager-wise. So when I see a whole clump of villagers like this, I'm thinking, oh boy, if I can get a bunch of kills here, that'll give me an eco lead.
Yeah.
But it will, I guess, help.
Well, it can't hurt.
Yeah, exactly. It'll help even it up some.
I like the mangonel versus the trebs.
Yeah!
That is good, solid castle defense.
Mm-hmm.
He tries to save the treb, but it's not going to work. 3 trebs up. That second castle's not going to last long.
Right.
When I first started playing competitive AoE, and I first learned how important the treb advantage was, I started trying to leverage it in the sense that I try to keep my trebs knocking stuff down the way I knock down, or the way I keep the TC going. Don't idle your trebs, kind of thing. And I'm coming to find that that's a mistake.
How do you mean?
It leads you to overextend, and you start losing trebs, and suddenly you lose the treb war. You lose the treb advantage because they're dying faster than they would otherwise. I'm finding that keeping the trebs protected, keep them attacking stuff, but don't just move them forward for the sake of moving forward the way you would a TC. Keep them protected, and keep building them if you can, and that's how you gain a treb advantage.
Right. And at this point,
and there it is.
Calls the GG for game 1.
I think that's a good time to call it. All castles down at this point. The town centers aren't going to be far behind, and he just has no military. He's got some skirmishers, but that's it.
Yeah.
So there's not much you can do.
Yeah.
Good game. Well played to both of you.
Thank you. Well, that's only game 1, so let's move on to game 2.
All right, booting it up now.
And here we go with our second game on a map called Graupel? I think that's how you pronounce that. You start off in the middle of this icy island with a transport ship, and you'll see just kind of the edges of the map, gold, wood, actually mostly gold and wood, not a whole lot of stone. I guess there's some stone there, but there's a ring of water in the middle with some fish, but not as much fish as other Nomad maps. So this one is advertised as more of a land-focused map, and this was Fede's home map. So here, I've elected to go with the Ethiopians. I figured when I did my Civ drafting, I picked 3 civilizations that are pretty good knight civs. I picked the Teutons, the Lithuanians, and the Magyar. And then I thought, well, I probably should have at least 1 archer civ in there. And after winning game 1, I thought, well, I feel like mixing it up. I think going with archers is probably a good idea.
Yeah.
And just decided to bring Ethiopians into this particular matchup. And I'm up against the Indians. And the Indians, and I did not realize this at the time, But this is a really good choice for Fede on this map because Indians collect shorefish faster, right? And they also get +1 pierce armor on their cavalry. I think it's at least on their scout cav. I think it's on their cavalry as a whole. They get +1 pierce armor in the Castle Age, and maybe it's another +1 in the Imperial. They get a lot of free pierce armor, right?
Yeah.
So if he takes advantage of that, there are some anti-archer options that the Indians have, right? So it's a pretty good choice for him. I went with the Ethiopians, not really sure how to play Grapple. This was not my home map. I'm winging it, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Now, I like what he did in the beginning. As soon as he disembarked his Vils from his transport ship, he immediately directed it to start going around the map picking up sheep. And so he's gotten a good number of sheep that way. Yeah. So significantly more than you from what I can tell.
Yeah.
So well played. I like that. I like what I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm. Me too. He's doing very well.
He's also scouting with sheep, it looks like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And one of the things that I realized even at the time as I was playing, I looked down at the score and he just skyrockets score-wise, and I realized, oh, he must have somehow collected a bunch of sheep and is just scouting that effectively. Because I know he's not doing that much better economically.
Right, you can't.
Right, exactly. That's not possible. So I have no scouts. I'm just focused in. I've got the one pig that I've sent scouting, and I know he must have so much more of the map uncovered, and sure enough.
Yeah.
So you were telling me, I want to rewind and pick up this conversation. You were telling me a little bit about your mindset when it comes to the trebuchets and how to use them and how not to use them. So pick that up and tell me a little bit more about that.
So in the beginning, obviously the most obvious function of a trebuchet is to knock down castles from range. And a lot of times in a lot of games, what happens is you start pumping out trebuchets, you knock down their castle. And my gut reaction is to be like, all right, I've knocked it down, move in and start knocking other stuff down, keep that momentum going.
Right.
And I am coming to find that I won't say that it is a mistake necessarily, but it leads to a mistake.
Yeah.
Because you start pushing in and invariably your guys get distracted. You don't necessarily know where all their stuff is in their base or what they've teched into or anything else. And it's easy for those trebs to get enveloped and then destroyed.
Right.
Instead, I'm learning to take a more of a steamroller approach where you walk them up, post your guys defensively, and just have the trebs knocking stuff down while you make him come to you. Especially in the beginning, that lets you set up under the defenses of your town center or castle or whatever you're posting around for the initial fight. And it lets you see what he's teching into as he brings it out against you. Action is quicker than reaction, but you force him to to tech in, gather, and then move out while your trebs are still knocking stuff down, and that puts you inside the decision cycle. That puts you on the act and then he on the react. So, or they, or whatever. So, I find I lose so many fewer trebuchets that way, number one, which means they knock down a lot more buildings before they die. And two, if he's got a secondary castle pumping out trebs that I just didn't know about, I've had it happen so often where we get into a treb war and I win it initially because, treb war. And then I push in and I start focusing on a town center or something else. And then he's got a secondary horde while my trebs are on his town center. He's moved up, built up 2 or 3 more trebs and from a second castle. And he's posting on my first castle. And then I lose that castle. And now I'm deep in his base without cover. And it just leads to a reset where if I had kept my initial treb safe, been a little more cautious with it. Not cautious, just reserved. Post it like old school artillery, not like a charge, not like cavalry.
Right. Yeah.
post and fire, post and fire. It's not a mobile force, and so don't treat it like one.
Right. I gotta say, I want to highlight how one of the things that Fede does so well, and this doesn't surprise me, it's his home map, but he clearly took the time to learn some tips and tricks on how to play this map. And I went in blind, and I think you see that in a couple of ways. He had out 3 fishing ships before I got my dock up.
Yeah.
And that sort of clues me in. Like, again, he knew right out of the gate. For me, I sort of like had to remember, oh, wait, there are fish there. I need a, I should probably put a dock up or something like that, right? He was right on it. He, I think, picked this Civ with the awareness of how important the shorefish would be in the little lakes. And
he's got 2 mills on them with 4 vills each.
Yes, yeah, and for me, that was something I don't think I ever fully wrapped my head around. I mean, I'm taking advantage of the one lake, but understanding just how critical those lakes would be, no, I don't think
at the same time, you've got 29 vills to his 24, so. Props to you. Your idle TC is lower. Your idle eco is lower. So,
yeah, that's true. That is true. And now, for what it's worth, now I do have more fishing ships than he does. So he got his 3, and then I guess he just decided 3 was good enough.
Yeah, and 3 might be with this few fish, especially because if your enemy decides to go into Navy, unless you do the same, you're going to lose them. I would probably go 5, maybe 6. But I can understand a player going, no, I'm going to build 3 and get what I can with that.
Yeah, so he hits feudal first, but I do have a 9 vil advantage. So I would say things aren't looking terrible for me right now.
Yeah. If I'm you and I look at that score, obviously we know score doesn't mean everything, but he's hit feudal first.
Yes.
We know he has a scouting advantage, and it is his home map. I'd be a little concerned at this point.
I was a little concerned, yeah.
I would say, I'd be saying to myself, he knows something I don't know.
Yeah. A lot of times, and this is true in ranked games, all the time, when I see a situation like that, I look down, I see the score, he's up 300 points, a little teardrop forms on my forehead, and I've got to tell myself it's got to be the score. Or, I mean, it's got to be scouting. It's got to just be the scouting. Yeah. And just keep your head in the game. Don't let it get to you. What do I do to win this thing? Yeah. Move on from there, because, he's 400 up on me right now. It's a little scary. It's a little scary. Yeah. And one of the things right out of the gate here, I'm going double archery ranges. I want to get out, an archer force.
Yep. One thing I like that he's doing is he's staged his transport ship right next to your dock. So he knows, number one, he knows that you have it. You're going fishing eco, which is pretty. It's pretty assumed, or it should be. More importantly, he knows if you're going to start building or when you're going to start building.
There's a hole in my wall, and the scouts get in, those jerks. And one of my vills opens the gate, so, that's always fun.
Yep. Uh-oh. Now you're going archers against scouts. That's a little risky, but if you get enough of them, it's definitely a good play.
It is risky, yes. All right, 2 scouts down, and I've yet to lose a vill, so I'm pretty happy about this. I do end up losing.
That's well played.
One vill down, but 2 scouts, and I don't know. It seems like that so far so good. Maybe they're a little distracted.
When you go against a scout raid, a scout rush. Losing one vill that happens a lot, but
Ah.
you haven't idled your eco, not really.
Mhm.
You're still on it. You've lost a couple vills, so
Yeah, that's fine.
okay, that's a little disappointing. But he's lost 3 scouts,
Right.
and he's going to lose more.
Right.
So I would say he's lost.
I believe that was his 5th scout that he just lost there. So that's
It
5
is.
times 75, right?
Yeah.
So, quite
versus
a bit.
3 times 50 plus
Right.
the return.
Right. So at the very least, I mean, it's not nearly as bad as it could have been.
Yeah, I don't know who came out on top there, but the margins are low enough to where I would take that trade.
Yeah. Yeah. He's still got a couple more scouts out.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, or just interact with this. When I go scouts, if the scout rush works, I build more scouts. But if it doesn't work well, I just won't, because it's not a gold unit, but it does hamper your ability to do pretty much. You're not pumping out bills with that. It does cost. It does cost food, and it doesn't have a huge ability to leverage. Late game, a scout cav horde. We know Hera uses that to good advantage, so I'm not going to suggest that he's wrong and that it's useless. But at this stage in the game, pumping out more scouts, if you didn't get kills already, you probably won't now.
I gotta say, so your analysis, I want to say is right on the money. It's exactly what I was thinking over the course of this match. Was like, all right, you got your scout rush. That was cute. It didn't really work out for you. Now I'm going to go on the offense here with my archers. He's just hit the castle age, but I'm kind of counting on this idea that he has spent his military.
Yeah.
And instead, look at this. He's coming at me with more scouts. You jerk. You just want to stop building scouts, you jerk.
Now, I like how you're kiting with one group and shooting with the other.
Yeah.
So that's standard fire and maneuver doctrine. Well done. Looks like you are going to lose all 6 of your your archers, but
they are going down. So this makes me really sad. I did get a couple of Vil kills, which was nice.
Yeah.
So I do have a Vil lead right now. But I threw away those archers. I accidentally had the archers, spawning forward. So yeah, these archers get thrown away. Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah, I remember this was definitely breaking my heart, thinking, boy, that was something like, I want to say 11 archers.
Yeah.
That if I had kept them, and there's a big power spike when you hit the castle age, you can upgrade them to crossbows. Yeah, I'm going to keep going archers. Boy, I could have used, that additional 11, just to back up the ball that I'm going to build.
Yeah.
Now, the thing that is nice about Ethiopians, I didn't even think about this when I picked them, but when you hit Castle Age, your Spearmen immediately upgrade to Pikemen. You get that upgrade for free. So that's a really nice little bonus if he's going to keep going into Cav.
Yeah. I like this. I think right now, if I'm you, I'd feel like you're closing that score gap a little bit.
Yeah.
He keeps going into scouts, which I would call a mistake. I'm kind of watching what you see, and every time they run back into view, and I go, "Hey, look, more scouts." I'd be kind of secure in my life choices. I'll put it that way.
Mm-hmm. Right now, things are pretty good. Yeah.
Got more archers and thumb ring coming in. Why not the crossbow upgrade immediately?
I think that's something I fix shortly. At the time, I just clicked it because I was focused on what was happening here.
Yeah. Now, I don't really know why he's going camels here.
I don't get that either. I think it's, well, I'm Indians. That's a
Yeah.
special gold unit, so I just go camels.
Yeah.
And I think that's a mistake. I'm not building knights.
I agree.
Maybe
Now,
he was
imagine if you
anticipating
had-
I might go knights.
Yeah. Which is not necessarily a bad idea. We lose some more archers here, so that's a little sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crossbow coming in after a couple more archers from that archery range, so that's good. Looking over back at his base, he's again gone 3 TCs.
Yep. 3 town
and
center.
His eco is again almost, it's not quite double yours, but it's definitely significantly superior. So you get your builds inside. Don't lose. Oh no, you lose 1. Looks like maybe 2. No, you lose 1. So that's pretty good. If he manages to get through here, that's not going to be good for him, even if you manage to keep him out. I was going to say, if he'd go through there, he's pretty much walled in. His scouts are going to have to run everywhere under fire. That's not going to work out. So I would have almost let him through. I say would have, as if I would have had the headspace. Again, you're dealing with a lot. That was a good quick wall, though.
Thank you. Yeah, I was pretty happy. I'm just finding I'm getting a little better over time with getting those walls up and the quick blocks of cav attack.
Yeah.
But notice what he's able to do. He's able to keep his cav on the move, and my poor pikes are just running around.
Yeah.
Slowly.
No, that is correct. So, he's managed to keep them alive far more than I thought they would. Look at this.
Yeah.
Can't outrun that.
Yeah. I have yet to meet horse that can outsmart bullet. So now I've got a fair number of crossbows, and I think, okay, if all he's got are scouts, I can move in and do damage. And I feel like, again, my default, my impulse is put pressure on.
Right.
It's not in my nature to just sit back and boom up, forever and ever.
Right.
And he hasn't plugged the hole. I don't think he realized there is a hole. So I can just walk right in again.
Another town center coming in for you.
Yeah.
Again, when you're raiding, if these were knights, they could put pressure on the town center even when garrisoned. But since they're scouts, all you can really do is try to hope you don't notice that he's raiding. Now he's gone into skirmishers, and
gone into skirmishers.
That would be a good move if you didn't have so many dang archers. But 6 skirms against 16 crossbowmen, well.
Yeah, and I kind of realized, I clicked on him real quick. I saw he doesn't really have blacksmith upgrades. Yeah, I have a huge numbers advantage. Just wipe him out before he gets numbers.
Yep. Keep that horde low.
So
the other cool thing about that initial raid was you pushed him off of his food and he just turned them right back into wood, which is fine and all, but he doesn't really need wood right now. He's definitely low on food.
Yeah.
So
So far, I feel pretty good about this. I mean, eco-wise, he's ahead, kind of, but barely, not really.
Yep.
I've got that pressure going. I have a military advantage, so I'm feeling pretty good.
Another thing I really like about what he's done is if you look at how well he's expanded, he's now has a corner to corner.
Yeah.
Eco, and this is good. The thing that I don't like is he has no stone. He's not mining any stone at all, which means he's in the castle age with no castle. He can't even build towers to deal with your archers. Now, obviously, a mangonel deals with towers pretty effectively, but you know, a couple towers might make a big difference here.
Yeah, this right here. At this point, I'm feeling pretty good about my situation.
I would too if I were you.
I'm
Castle drop. That's a good play. Mangonel on the town center. They'll outrange. His cav armor comes in, which is probably a good play for him.
Yeah.
And he's still putting out scouts. I do not understand this at all. He's low on food. And he's going scouts. He doesn't have food to spare. Scouts are good if you've got food to spare and no other resources, but at this point he's got wood and he has a little bit of gold. He doesn't have the food to spare to put it on a unit that has not done any good. Not for him yet, not really.
Now take a look though. All right, he's got how many is this here? 8 scouts coming in. And remember, Indian scouts, extra pierce armor.
Right. No, that's fair.
And so at this point, I'm feeling good. And looking at the stats, I am good right now. This is a good situation. I get cocky. I lose sight of one of the rules of Age of Empires that I'm always telling myself, which is, you know, if you're going for a definitive castle drop kind of situation, then, you know, don't send just 2 or 3 vills, right?
Yeah.
And so things are kind of slipping here. I just lost a bunch of archers there to these scouts. Now they take the mangonel.
Yep, that's a pretty solid momentum shift.
Yes.
So why didn't you house all your villagers in who were building the building the castle?
I should have. I got cocky. I did not think that would have been a threat.
I mean, it's easy to understand. You're trying to control 2 different directions and 2 different...
Yeah, I totally had your voice in the back of my mind, like, after that went down, like, ooh, I probably should have... And here we go, look at this.
Right.
More...
Well, look at that.
9 more scouts. And watch how they wipe my crossbows.
I wouldn't have thought it after seeing how well they didn't perform up to this point, but you're right. And if you look at what he's done in the northwestern corner of the map, he's got a mill and 4 vills, 5 vills on each lake.
Yes.
His his food eco is booming, and that's supporting his scouts. And his scouts, wow, look at this.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have believed it, but he is turning it around with the unit I've been dissing this whole time.
Right.
So.
And I was going to say, like, everything you had been saying up to this point of the game, like, why scouts? This, in so many words, this is dumb, was what I was sort of thinking in the back of my mind as I was playing. Like, there's no way he's going to keep going into scouts. Scouts are a trash unit. They're weak. They, you know, they're not supposed to be a main unit in the Castle Age.
Right.
That's not how the game is played. And yet, he's... And because I underestimated it, I did not plan for it. I had my 5 spearmen or whatever earlier, and that was it. Well, now I'm going to go into pikemen and see if I can make something happen.
Yeah. Now, why not Genoese crossbowmen? Obviously, you don't have a castle up, but you have the villagers to put a castle back near your base.
That's because I'm not Italian.
Oh, duh, you're Ethiopian.
I mean, you know, yeah, you're right. I should have thought of that. Yeah. Genoese crossbowman would have been a great choice.
Yeah. Why didn't you do that? Why not some Mamelukes while you're at it?
Right, exactly. I'll just go battle elephant next time.
Okay, touche, but man, look at this. He's just ripping apart. He's gutting your eco.
Exactly.
My heart weeps for you.
And this is great for him. Not just he wiped out my army and then used the initiative and the momentum to just core out my economy.
Yeah.
And this is tough.
Yeah, my heart bleeds for you. You've gone at the same time. You know, you've lost a lot of eco, right? You've got a lot of eco deaths at this point, but you're still 58 vills to his 84 vills. So, you know, for all of that.
I mean, last game I was down a bunch of vills. So at this point, I'm not throwing in the towel yet by far. But when I see these pikemen go down, I'm thinking you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah. These are scouts.
These are scouts. Yeah, it does not work this way. What is wrong with these people? Fede, why? FedeElManco, why would you go so many scouts? Yeah, I was...
No, he's got these guys attacking your second town center. I think that's a mistake. He could be attacking your villas and getting a lot of kills, but okay.
Yeah. I did end up getting the castle up back in space. So
I see that.
I'm hoping maybe I can turn something around. Again, it's only scouts, right?
Right.
Surely I can turn it around from scouts.
He now had 57 vills to his 90. Yeah. And his food, look at this. He has spread his food eco. He now controls 2 full stretches, corner to corner to corner.
Yep.
Just dominating the food game.
Yeah.
You know, if I were to predict right now, I predict he wins, and I predict that is why.
Well, I mean, I don't think you can afford this many scouts if you don't have that kind of control.
Exactly. Like 10 scouts?
Right.
Okay.
Which goes back to what I was saying
15,
earlier.
20, 30 scouts.
Right.
Suddenly, yeah, you've got a horde. And, you know, I said earlier, I'm not going to trash Hera and say he's wrong because, you know, Hera is Hera.
Right. And FedeElManco is showing why. You know?
Yeah. Like, there is a reason for it.
Yeah. Yeah. But this goes back to what I was saying earlier, where, and I applaud my opponent here, I think he went into this whole map with this plan.
Yeah.
I'm going to take advantage of all of these, you know, lake fish.
Yeah.
And pick Indians to take maximum advantage of it.
Right.
Yeah, here goes raiding again. And again, he can raid with the scouts because they have more Pierce armor, so the town center is just not doing the damage to them that it normally should.
Yeah. Man, that is incredible.
Yeah.
Like I said, I wouldn't have believed it.
Yep.
But I believe it now.
Yeah. And so, I mean, this is a good Indian strategy. Like, you know, each town center can protect 15 vills. So, you know, 15 times 3, that's 45 vills I can save. Everybody else, if I don't have a castle up or, you know, towers or whatever, you know, that's just free game for the Hussars. And, you know, it makes me realize, at this point, I was realizing, boy, I really should have walled up.
Yeah.
You know, way before now. Yeah. Yeah.
He goes up to Imp 2. You're going up as well, but by golly, 104 vills to 32. And the Light Cav are continuing to wreck and decimate. The worst part is, it's not like you can build more vills to deal with it. Not only that, like, your vills are producing food by spending wood. His vills are producing food that's pretty much already there. You got to build a mill, but most of the food's already there. So the actual eco advantage that he's leveraging is even higher than that. Yeah, at this point, it's a tough call. You've got a castle, but so does he. You're going to go up to Imp, but so is he.
Right.
If I was you, I'd say right now your only hope is to really get a Treb advantage and start, you know, busting his face in.
I keep thinking at this point, if I could just wipe out the last of these scouts, then I could try to go back on the offense, and you know, if I could put the pressure on him, maybe I can turn this thing around.
And I mean, you have wiped out almost all of his scouts, but he's building more.
Yeah.
You know, you're not wiping them out faster than they're being produced, and that's the big thing. You know, he's producing them 4 at a time.
I've got 6 Shotel Warrior. In the castle. I'm thinking, oh, maybe I could do some raiding of my own. I get a little bit of pressure, try to turn this thing around. That was the thought. I don't know that I don't remember that I'm able to do much with them. But I am working on Trebs. And here, more scouts. More scouts coming into raid. He does not let up.
No, he doesn't. I mean, like I said, he was down to his last 8 now. He's at 17. He's got another 6. He's at 16. He's got another 5 queued up. I mean...
Yeah.
you can't. It's not just the killing them. You got to kill them faster than they're being made. And even here, he could lose all of this, and he's got the food and the eco to just produce more. I don't think this is a fight he should have taken.
Yeah. Yeah, this gives me a moment's hope. Like, okay, wiped out a whole lot of scouts there. Maybe I can...
Is that an epic foreshadowing of what we can expect in the next 10 minutes?
Yeah, man. In the next 10 minutes, I turn everything around.
That's what I thought.
You know it.
I could hear the upcoming success being echoed in your voice.
Exactly.
But he's got trebs up. You have trebs made, but they're not being put out.
And this right here breaks. I spat out the trebs. I wanted to hit his trebs with my trebs, and it's out of range.
Oh.
I don't know if he planned that or if it was,
Yeah, I don't know if he
luck,
did either.
But
ouch.
It was at this moment where I felt like I probably lost because I knew I couldn't save the castle.
Yeah.
I've got my 2 trebs out, but that's it.
And he's got a horde of villagers near your base. You see them, you
Yep.
start building a castle. Good for you. And a house wall. I hope you learned your lesson.
Well, it's more trying to actually fence him than protect my own.
Right.
His castle goes down,
good move.
but those stinking scouts, they take out my trebs. Yeah. Yep.
Now, at this point, all he has to do is go into an infantry unit, and you've got nothing left.
Mm-hmm.
He might not even need to do that.
What are you talking about? All he has to do is produce scouts and raid. One of the things that threw me for a little bit of a loop is the Ethiopians are one of the few civilizations that still have a bonus that kind of stops halfway.
Yeah.
The Ethiopians, they get pikemen for free, not halberdier.
Right.
And almost every other civilization in the game will give you the complete thing. It'll be like the most recent Byzantines were patched so that they now get both of the visibility upgrades at the town center for free, not just the one. With the Bulgarians, they get the whole militia line for free.
Right.
So every time I play Ethiopians, I'm always expecting to get halberdier for free, and I'm like, wait a minute. What do you mean I gotta pay for it? So that always throws me for a loop.
134 vills to your 67.
Yeah.
Now this, I don't know if that's the right call. That many vills, I guess if you're going trash and they're just dying and being recycled effectively, that makes some sense. Same time. Excuse me, at the same time, you want to get up to pop cap, you want to get an army, and then use that army.
Yeah. Yeah. So here, he's advancing in with more trebs. I've got a defensive treb. It's supposed to be 2, but again, the one treb being blocked by the other. And,
Yep.
This is a tough situation to be in, for sure.
Yeah, I don't envy it. It's a hard fight.
Yeah. And here they come. Here they come. More of these jerk light cav.
The really hard part about that is, you can just send them in to die if you want. You can just send them in to die underneath the town center and take the trebs. He doesn't have to, but he could.
Yeah. So he takes down my castle. I do see an elephant archer hit the field. And that has me concerned, because I know if he masses elephant archers, then they'll counter the pikemen. He takes down... I want to... Yeah, my treb is blocking my defensive units, so... I mean, it's... At this point, I don't...
Man, that's got to be so frustrating.
Yeah, I don't have options here.
Yeah.
I have been outplayed.
Altitude and ideas.
Exactly. Exactly. So he's got the treb up. He's got the castle.
Yeah.
He's got stone. He holds all the cards here. And I want to say, in just a second here,
Yeah.
It's a tournament match.
Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 town centers, 3 castles, 148 villes. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, the man likes his economy. So what do you do? What do you do? At this point, this is a tournament game, so I definitely held on longer than I normally would have.
Right.
Because you don't want to give it up early on a tournament match. Like I said, it feels like the games mean more. So you want to make sure you're giving everything you've got, but it's around this point where I realize I have no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I called the GG, and that's game 2.
As Geoffrey Chaucer said in A Knight's Tale, "Well done, my lord, noble victory."
A noble victory for FedeElManco, indeed. For me,
yeah,
I'll take the noble. The victory, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I kind of assumed you would know I was talking about his victory and not yours, considering.
Yeah. Considering he won and I didn't. Yeah. Boy, again, my hat's off to him, not just for good play, but again, I think for bringing a strategy to this map. Very, very well done there. But that's only game 2 now. We've got 1 win and 1 loss. It's a best of 3. So we got to see who takes this whole thing in game 3. And here we go. The final match between myself and FedeElManco for tournament glory in the Wandering Squires Cup. This is my home map. We're playing on Mired. And, I went into this map, right? This was my home map. I chose it with a game plan in mind, right? I chose Mired because there is really no water to speak of. There's kind of this central lake that you can walk on with a lot of boar, right? But nothing in the way of like a fishing economy or... my thought process was, let's try to make it an all-land map, an open map. And then I elected to pick the Magyar with the hope of getting out a early, strong scout rush and sniping a bunch of vills that maybe are in the center trying to collect food, and I can kind of, get a really strong aggression rolling from there, right?
Right. No, yeah, I get that.
That's what's in my mind. My opponent is playing as the Berbers. In the back of my mind, I'm a little bit worried because I know the Berbers mean cheap cavalry. It means it's very easy to get camels out. So, as the Magyar, you're a strong cavalry-focused civilization. So, I've got that in the back of my mind. I'm a little worried about the camels, but I'm hoping if I can hit them with scouts first, then I should have control of this.
Berbers is one of those civs I have not played much against, but every time I have, or most of the time, it has been an unpleasant experience. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah. I am lucky that I started right next to a boar, so able to get food rolling right out of the gate. Although FedeElManco here has like 5 ibex, so or no, I'm sorry, 4 ibex and a sheep. So
I like the placement of both your town centers for different reasons. I like your position on wood and gold, but the food is a bit lacking.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, this was something that, even though this is my home map, I didn't quite realize that berries were out there. Like, if I'd gone further in, I could have, TC'd next to berries and a wood line. And that probably would have been even better for just getting that early food wood economy going. That would have been really nice. But what I figured is where I have it, I've got gold, I've got wood, and then I can lure in all manner of boar from the center, which is kind of the gimmick of this map.
Right. And it seems to be working out. That's exactly what is happening. So,
and once again, I remember I was kind of live commentating on this, and I was saying, boy, I'm not going to let myself get housed again. Like, I think in both of the previous games, I've been housed immediately, and as I'm saying that, I get housed. So something that I'm taking with me into future Nomad games is I'm becoming paranoid about being housed. I can't let that keep happening.
Well, it's so easy because your opening is all about getting that town center and then straight into food production.
Right.
And you're not doing the standard 2 houses and then get food production going.
Right.
So it's so easy to do.
Yeah. It really, really is. And I'll tell you, especially when I get housed like that, the pressure is on. It's a 1-1 series, and I'm thinking, boy, if I mess this up, just one mistake might mean it cost me my tournament life. I'm sweating bullets here,
Yeah.
So got another boar. It's pretty great. One thing I'm loving as a Magyar player, I want to go into scouts. We kind of saw this with the last game, right? Where if the map gives you a lot of food, that's really good if you're wanting to go into scouts. So now, I'm feeling good about that.
Here's something that I like that he's doing. He found your location, but instead of scouting out your town center, which we know has to be right next to your houses, he immediately turns around and goes and starts scouting the rest of the map, and I like that. Because as long as you know where they are, there's only so much you can get at this stage in the game. Right now, it's more important to figure out what you're going to be doing in 10 minutes and 15 minutes, not necessarily what his opponent, is doing now. So he's got a pretty good idea of the map. Now, so do you, of course.
Right.
You've done the exact same thing, it looks like. You've nicked the corner of his eco. You see him. Well done by both of you.
Yeah. So far, it's feeling pretty good. Getting farms out, because I know that there are only so many boar left.
Pretty standard as far as the opening goes. Like you're moving out with 11 to get another boar. Are you planning on just taking it there?
Yeah. And that's
that makes sense.
It's kind of a mental bandwidth sort of thing.
Well, not only that, you're not really going to save that much, if anything, on the resources on that boar. Because they're going to farm it and then go back to the town center. They don't have to walk in between. So kiting it back, no extra resources are going to be wasted at the town center than would be here. So the disadvantage is that they're exposed, but the food isn't going to be any more wasted here than there. At least probably not. The other advantage is you're not going to lose one. When you try pulling a boar in from that far away, especially if you have a mental bandwidth issue, there's a good chance you're going to lose one if you look away for, a couple seconds too long.
So I am teching up into the feudal age, and I will be the first one to hit feudal. So far, the strategy is working. I'd say I could have gotten it up a little bit faster. There was a moment where I hit 500 food, but I instinctively just hit like another villager instead of teching up. And timing is everything on something like a Scout Rush. So I wish that I had hit the feudal age upgrade faster, but...
Having said that, he's kind of doing the opposite, or the same thing. He's going more and more villagers. They're very close to each other. You're going to be up in feudal first, and you've got quite a bit of food. Maybe if he was a little faster on the draw and teched up a little faster, that would make a difference. But right now, I'm saying your timing is pretty good.
Yeah.
So he lures that boar away. Good for him.
And this one got me so bad. I forgot to build a barracks to get my stable up. So already, like the nerves, the tension. I'm like, oh man, how could I have forgotten to get the barracks up so I could get the stable up, so I could get out the scouts? So here come the barracks now. Quickly. Stable now. That's right, I don't have enough wood. I'm waiting for the wood to come in. So yeah, there.
So
wood.
timings are a little iffy, but you know that's okay.
Right.
He's got a wall in, a kind of wall for his gold camp. Yeah, he's walling in his gold camp. That's good. A pocket wall in this situation. You're the Magyar. It's an open map. I'd be thinking Scout Rush 2.
Yeah.
You got your blacksmith offensive upgrade in, so that's good.
Right. Well, of course, again, I'm Magyar, so
Magyar,
that just comes in automatically, and that was the thought process. If I were faster, boy, it would have been like, just lightning speed. As it is, I'm glad I get it anyway, because, that's one more moving part I don't have to worry about.
Right. So he's putting up his own, a market and a blacksmith. Looks like he's going more of a fast castle strat, which you could have predicted by the 27 vills. I don't think this is necessarily a bad play by him, especially because he's got his town center located right next to his wood and food. So there's no wood line for you to raid. He's got his gold coming in from a walled location. So I think a fast castle's a good play.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And
he's playing it well.
And of course, if your scout cav had come in a little faster, it wouldn't work out nearly as well as it's working now. As it is, he's already teched up to castle before the first scouts ever show up.
Scouts show up, and I do see the one vill hiding behind the house. So that's one vill that goes down.
Nice. Bloodlines coming in. I underestimated bloodlines for so long. Undervalued, I guess, would be what. On the flip side, okay, so he sees him coming in. Scouts get pulled under the town center. It looks like one's going to go down. Two are going to go down. Yep, 2 down. Okay. And of course, what we're doing right here is you're just idling the eco. You're not going for the kills. So that's well done.
That's what I'm trying to do, is just be a distraction. And I mean, I do have only 30 seconds vital TC time to his 2.5 minutes. So it's not going badly. Yeah.
At the same time, you're a ways away from Castle Age. So
yeah, and he's teching up.
From the bird's eye view, I'm a little concerned that this isn't going like it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Didn't get a second eco kill, so at this point, he's got the eco advantage, and he's got the same military you've got. I mean, you've got more upgrades into your military, but you don't have anything with them. So
at this point,
very concerned.
At this point, yes, I am very concerned. I got the scout rush out. Well, the scout rush out, and it really didn't do the kind of damage I was hoping it would. It did some idling. It got a couple of kills. Not what I'm looking for when you invest that kind of food into four scouts. So, I didn't get the damage I wanted. Now he's in Castle Age. I am deep into the Feudal Age. Oh no. I am sweating bullets. I'm thinking something needs to happen or I'm going to lose this game. I am very worried.
Right.
So I decided to wall up. That was kind of the first thing on my mind. I did not want a repeat of last game. And that's what I was going to say about game 2. The one other thing that's different about playing in a tournament is when you're just playing on the ranked ladder, a loss is a loss. You shake it off, say, okay, what can I learn from that in general? And then, you move on from there. In a tournament, it's you're saying on top of that, like, what do I learn about my opponent and how can I take that into the next game?
Right.
And something I'll go ahead and tell you now that, figures into the back of my mind is how the last game went and the way that FedeElManco played.
Right. Now, speaking of that, we saw the camels come in. Now, camels is good in this. They're going to counter basically your main strat.
Right.
So I get that.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I wonder if it's a reflex play for him, because he did it last game too when there was no indication you'd be going any kind of cav.
Yeah, so what I had realized is last game I put out like 5 or 6 spearmen. That was it. I called it a day.
Yeah.
And I end up getting overwhelmed by scouts.
Right.
I was telling myself, there's no way I'm letting that happen twice. I know how he plays. And so that last game, and that loss is in the back of my mind when I'm telling myself, just go spearmen. Go
more spears.
Yeah, exactly. So as I'm teching up into the Castle Age now, spearmen. Spearmen!
Now, on the flip side, he's getting a siege workshop up. And
Yes.
again, obviously you can't see this. You don't necessarily know this. Or can you? Let's take a look. I don't think you can.
Nope, it's just out of range.
Right on the verge. But having the bird's eye view that I've got, if I did see that, I would be very intimidated.
Yep. And I think, again, to FedeElManco's credit, I think he's trying to put the pressure on much earlier than he has in the previous 2 games.
Right.
Right? So, this is a good situation for him. But fortunately, I'm walled up.
And you have spears.
Yes, and I have spears.
If he punches through that wall, well, he's going to have to deal with what's behind it.
Right. And he realizes just in time.
As Tolkien famously wrote, men are better than gates.
Yeah. Why not both?
He keeps hoping. He's trying to pull your guys away so that he can slip in behind him, but it's not going to work.
Right. I'm aware of that, and I'm trying to play around his playing around,
So he goes Scorpion, and this I rather appreciate. This is a good move, I think, because if your play is a massive trash units, Scorpion's gonna deal a pretty heavy blow to that. On the flip side, you're still a light cav civ, or a cav civ in general, but especially a light cav civ. And what counters Scorpions?
Pikeman upgrade comes in.
Cannons? I don't think pikemen do, but cav do.
No, I'm just saying, yeah. No, I'm just saying the pikeman upgrade comes in.
Gotcha. Oh. I was wondering where that was coming from.
Like, what counter Scorpions? Villagers!
Pikemen!
Pikemen!
Yeah.
Monks. No. Yeah, monks would be nice. Yeah. That would have been a really good choice.
Okay, so he's trying to slip the, he thinks there's a hole in the wall, so he tries to slip some guys through. Looks like they do get through. Yes, they do. But you have knights!
Yeah.
Oh, no!
Yeah, he's not going to accomplish much this time.
Well, and not only that, you have 2 town centers, so you can't fit all of your villager eco in there, but you can fit, 2/3 of it. So he gets some eco kills here. Okay.
Yeah, so right now, he's got a Vill lead, but I actually do have the military numbers. And I feel like, at this point, when I kind of cleared out that initial wave of knights and camels, and the scorpions, and then this happens. Oh no, it's like five scorpions, and all of these knights and camels, whatever. It's just the worst.
And yet, seeing 5 scorpions to me feels like an opportunity.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just wreck whatever you send at it.
Yeah.
It's a valuable investment in gold and wood, and it's pretty easy to knock down 5 scorps versus 15 to 20 Scorps. So to me, that feels like they tipped their hand too early.
And at this point, I look down and I actually see that we're tied score-wise. And I feel like I've probably evened out the game. I feel like I was really in a bad situation. And fortunately, going all in on Spearman was the right choice. And now we've kind of evened out.
You know, but for that choice, for that prediction, I think you would have lost this game.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm thinking I probably lose right there if it wasn't for the loss of Game 2. So thank you, FedeElManco, for your annoying scouts back in Game 2. Because that's probably why, I'm able to hang on at this point.
Well, and he's continuing to put out Scorps and Cav. Now, the Scorps I like, I think Skirms would have been better.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're a low cost, they can't be just chased down and obliterated all at once. You've got to get them one at a time.
I don't know. I think the Knights would clear them faster. I think he needs to defend the Scorpions better. Like if he got out some infantry or something like that, that would be the best choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and then I win this battle, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute, well, I shouldn't even say win, I didn't even really win it, but I clear out the siege again, I take down an awful lot of...
It's a good trade.
Yeah, it's a very good trade.
Now, you've got a gap in your wall, it looks like, between your houses and your barracks. So if that market goes down, he can slip in to your economy, theoretically. Having said that, you still got spearmen around.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's going to have to give that up.
Mm-hmm. And am I satisfied with the 13 pikemen that I have on the field? No. I want more pikemen. I need more pikemen. Never again. Never forget.
Snooping around with his camels to try to find a hole in the wall, and there is a hole in the wall.
There is a hole. Yep.
So good for him.
Yeah.
I appreciate that play. Good for him.
I am, on the meanwhile, going on offense myself with my own knights.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get that pressure.
Now he's got a slight eco lead. You've got a significant military lead in numbers, although he's got better units on the field, I think. So it's kind of a wash at this point. Forward castle drop.
And yes, my favorite strategy.
Now, if I were him, I would have predicted this, the way you predicted his scouts, because 2 out of 2 games now, you've gone offense. As soon as you've pushed him back to his wall, you've gone a castle drop.
Right.
So this would be where you'd want to put the Scorps behind the wall, maybe a mangonel.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're getting your own rating in, so good. You've almost tied up the eco, KD. And he's not going to be able to push your builds off.
Yeah.
So now if I'm him at this point, on one hand, I'm not liking this at all. On the other, I've got the wood and I've got the stone. I would immediately build another 2 TCs kind of around the loop, because he's got more map control than you do. And if he can get that up, then he can surrender this base with little difficulty.
I have the castle up, and I have the resources to go into the Imperial Age. Where, once again, this is something we've seen all 3 games. FedeElManco loves to go the 3-town center, big eco boom, and it stalls his Imperial Age.
There it is. 4th town center coming in.
Yeah. Whereas for me, I don't prioritize the economy nearly as much. Now, part of that, I think, was me being a little off my game. But a part of that, though, is just, I much prefer to get that pressure out right away. So I hit Imperial Age as soon as I can, get Trebs out, and you know,
Yeah.
try to put the pressure on.
Trade card. Why?
I remember seeing that too. I'm in the middle of playing this game and I'm like, trade card? Why is there a trade card?
It must have been a misclick. It had to be.
Yeah.
Now, do the Berbers get camel archers?
They get, yeah, camel archers, their unique unit.
What I thought. So, if I were him, that would be what I would want to go at this point. That'll deal with both your knights and with your pikes.
He is building a forward castle on me.
I saw that.
And I only am now realizing it. So I start sending my knights over.
I don't think they get there in time.
They don't. But it's not a difficult thing to just relocate.
Yeah. He does a quick wall of his own. Good for him. And he's going camel archers. Okay.
You called it. Yeah, meanwhile, he's got all of this in the back. So he's doing really well economy-wise. He's up almost 30 vils on me.
And he has wood and gold.
Yeah.
So he can afford a lot of camel archers at this point. Unfortunately, what he can't do is deal with trebs.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? You're in the Imperial Age. So this would have me very concerned.
Yeah.
So he idles his eco, which is probably a good thing.
This is
Your
a difficult
trebs go
situation for him. He cannot retreat. He can't loop around my base from the backside.
No,
his only option is to go through my castle.
Yeah. This is very good tactical positioning, and this is one of the things that shows that a castle is a strong building, and it is. It does damage. It's hard to knock down, but it ain't everything.
Yeah.
You know, an unprotected castle falls. That's how it goes.
Yeah. Oh, and this reminds me too. I forgot to mention it earlier, but during some of those big fights that were deciding who won and lost this game earlier, FedeElManco did not have any blacksmith upgrades. And I had my attack upgrades in automatically, and I had, bought the Feudal Age Armor Tech too. So I think that's another big reason I won a lot of battles.
Right.
Why my pikemen were maybe even more effective than they otherwise would have been. Now, I've got that Imperial Age attack tech automatically, because I'm Magyar.
Yep.
And he has since gone into the Cav blacksmith armors, but he has no Cav. Well, I guess he does now. He has a couple
so his villagers, I would guess they, if I were him, I would have done this first. This is where I would have castle dropped.
Mm-hmm.
But as it is, they're going to get intercepted and pushed back. Another trade cart. Why does he have trade carts? Is he trying to generate gold from your market or something? I have no idea. I guess.
Maybe he's memeing on me.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't get it, but...
Fede, if you're out there, why are you building trade carts, man? What's the...
I'm not making fun of you. I just want to know.
What's the grand master plan? Yeah, I mean, at this point, I feel like I slaughtered a bunch of vills here in the middle. I've got, 20 knights, 24 pikemen. I feel like I'm in control. I look at the score. Now, I click on my castle. I look at the cost of spies, and I see how high the cost is, and I realize, oh, wow, he must have a lot of vills.
Yeah, I was going to say, in spite of all those vills you killed in the middle, he's got more.
Yep. The other reason I picked Magyar, I love the Magyar Hussar. I'm teching into them now because I think they are my favorite unique unit in the game.
Really? Explain that.
So I love their trash unit. So, you get some pretty strong cavalry out that doesn't cost any gold. That's amazing. I love the bonus that they get to siege units. So, you know how we talk about winning a Treb war?
Yep.
Where most of the time that means you need to have more Trebs than your opponent. But with the Magyar, it could be something as simple as he's got more trebs, you just throw in a suicide wave of Magyar Hussar that absolutely wipe out trebs and whatever other siege he's got, and all of a sudden, now you're the one in control. All right, so wait, I got Cavalier. I'm clearing vills left and right.
You're sweeping through his economy.
Yeah.
You've almost tied up the vill count by number, and certainly by productive vills, because a third of his eco is idle right now. If I'm him, I'm in the out of airspeed, altitude, and ideas section of the game. You've just got more military on the field. You can tell that at a glance. You're in Imperial. He only just got there. You have castles. He has none. There it is. There it is.
And there's the GG.
Good game, both.
Good games. Yep.
Look at this. 59 pikemen.
Yeah.
Did you learn a thing or two?
I think I learned something from that last game. Never again.
Right. Well, good game, well played.
Thank you.
Both of you.
So 2-1.
That was fun to watch.
It was fun to play. It was tense, but there really isn't an experience like it. It was pretty awesome. So this was a round of 32, and so I win 2-1. I advance forward. So next time we're going to be looking at our round of 16. And if I win that, it'll be round of 8, round of 4, and then round of 2 for the finals.
Nice.
So again, I just FedeElManco, man, my hat off to you. You played very well as an opponent. It's just a really, really enjoyable set against you. So good luck out there. And Hiram, again, thanks for casting this with me.
Thanks for letting me. This was a blast to watch. Thanks
for watching, guys. And we'll catch you next time for the Wandering Squires Cup, round of 16. This is the Iron Kaiser, along with Hiram of Tyre, signing out.